What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Grace experiences a panic attack when Bridget bombards her with inquiries. At Bill's place, Steffi and Hope tell Liam that his tumor is gone. Finn says he just looked at the scans himself. He'll be able to watch his little girls grow up. Big news from Will, and Katie Brooke is concerned about the dissemination of the Italy press release at Forrester. Ridge assures her that they can still cancel if Liam forces them to. Katie and Will came in at that exact moment with amazing news. They assert that Liam underwent successful experimental brain surgery. He is healed. They're all happy and exclaim. Will is thrilled about having more time with his older brother. Taylor decides to get in touch with the hospital to see if she can find out more. They have people to thank, so Ridge encourages her to do so. Will and Ridge discuss Bill in detail. Will claims to be experiencing guilt issues. Because of what he did, Ridge will not soon be able to forgive him. He was the reason Luna was released from prison. My daughter was put in danger by him. Will believes that his efforts to save Liam are going well. Brooke asks Taylor if she's heard from the hospital. She only knows that Grace approved Liam's discharge. They all talk about how strong Liam is and how his kids are the most important thing to him. Taylor still has questions, but the most important thing is that he will survive. Ivy misses Liam. In the design office, Elektra asks Ivy if she's okay. She knows the news about Liam has been hitting her hard. Ivy can't get over how unfair everything is. They talk about how Ivy and Liam used to be close. He still means a lot to her, according to Elektra. Ivy recalls he was there at one of the lowest points of her life. She has realized how much she has missed him now that he is about to die. Elektra hears from Ivy that Liam is still her best boyfriend. She goes through his list of qualities and concludes that he is the complete package. The fact that Elektra and Will did not inherit those characteristics makes her giggle. Fortunately, none of Bill's sons are like him, according to Ivy. She reflects on the time she spent with Liam at Il Giardino before he fell ill and acknowledges that he was one of the primary reasons she returned to Los Angeles. Now, she has to figure out how to say goodbye forever. Ivy didn't tell Elektra that she loved Liam so much. Ivy laments that she believed she had unlimited time. She regrets not being able to be a friend who was there for him. I had no idea. Elektra assures her there's still time. Ivy can't even think about him dying. He is simply so young. No one is ready to say goodbye, according to Elektra, and it's weighing heavily on Will as well. Bridget questions her colleague. At the hospital, Grace is typing on her lap when her phone dings. She appears stressed as she reads a message of profound gratitude from Bill. Bridget comes in and wants to speak to her about Liam Spencer. She questions her about signing off on Liam being discharged so soon. Grace says she doesn't have time for this discussion, so Bridget keeps questioning her decision. She watches Bridget until she leaves when her phone rings. Turning back to the phone call, she says, "I was just about to call you." Liam makes a request. Bill tells Liam at Bill's house that he just told Will and Wyatt the wonderful news. Liam marvels, "It's really gone?" They all promise him that it is. He will stay with them for a very long time and grow old with them. Liam cries. Steffi and Hope ask how he's feeling, and Liam says he's tired. He wants to see his girls, but they want him to rest. Hope suggests calling the nanny to request that she bring them over. Nearby, Finn asks Bill if he's had any more contact with Dr. Buckingham. Bill says none other than a text message. This mind-boggling case astonishes Finn. Bill concurs, calling it a miracle. Finn frowns. Suspicions grow. At the hospital, Bridget paces and thinks about Grace telling her and Finn that the mass in Liam's brain was inoperable. She then flashes to Finn saying that releasing Liam so soon was not standard operating procedure, and that it was very odd. She reads a text in Grace's office that shows that Bill Spencer's bank wire has been processed. She agonizes. Kelly and Beth are reunited with Liam. Bill tells Hope and Steffi at his house that when Grace presented him with the experimental procedure, he had no choice but to go for it. Hope says they're grateful. Bill declares that he would do anything for his son. He sits by Liam's bedside and expresses his gratitude for the tumor's removal. He apologizes for Luna's part of it, but he will never be able to forgive himself for putting him in danger. Thank you for the surgery, Liam cracks. Steffi and Hope are certain that he is eager to see Beth and Kelly. They will ensure that they are aware that he will be fine. Steffi and Hope inform Finn that their father was in the hospital, but that nothing should be worried about and that everything will be fine. The girls gather at the bedside to inquire about his health. Now that they're there, Liam says he's the best person ever. He flaunts his hat and tubes. Do you think it's cool? The girls get into bed with Liam and Steffi tells them he's a hero. Hope knows it may be confusing to see him like this. Finn explains the machines and says he's healing really well. There is so much for them to look forward to. Hope and Steffi remind their girls of how much Liam loves them. There will be many more daddy-daughter dances. The girls and Liam express their love. Bill murmurs, "Best money I ever spent." In her office, Grace looks at the $1 million deposit pending, transfers it into her account, and flashes through Liam's medical journey. She begins to exhale a lot as she gets up and walks around. Grace Buckingham was sitting in her office at the hospital, surrounded by so much tension that it seemed like the walls were closing in on her. She had just witnessed the $1 million wire transfer from Bill Spencer hit her account, and the screen of her laptop glowed coldly and clinically. The realization that it was completed was accompanied by a nauseating wave. This was the result of the procedure, the paperwork, and the secrecy. But the moment was not triumphant. It terrified me. Just then, the door creaked open, and Dr. Bridget Forrester stepped inside, her eyes sharp and demanding. Bridget did not waste time with nice things. "Grace, I must discuss Liam Spencer's discharge with you." Grace's hands instinctively hovered over her laptop, then lowered slowly. "Bridget, now's not really." Bridget came in, getting closer, as he was released far too quickly. "You signed off on it, but Finn and I were told the tumor was inoperable just a few weeks ago. Now it's gone." Her voice was controlled, but under the surface simmered suspicion. Grace's fingers curled slightly, the beginning tremors of anxiety starting to show. Her voice, which she'd practiced so many times to sound authoritative and collected, cracked slightly. "I can assure you that the method was cutting edge." "Unapproved and untested," Bridget countered. "You didn't consult anyone. You didn't even let the hospital board review it. Grace, you broke protocol." Grace's heart raced, but Bill Spencer came back up on her phone before she could respond. She declined the call and stared at Bridget. "I don't have time for this." "You don't have time to explain a miracle cure?" Bridget's tone was scathing now. "Or are you trying to buy time before someone finds out what really happened?" The pressure mounted, and Grace could feel the weight bearing down on her chest. As Bridget's accusations continued, flashes of the past few weeks ran through her mind: Bill's offer, Liam's pleading eyes, the ethically gray documents, the covert surgery, the frantic monitoring, and now this, the fallout. To make it all go away, she wanted to scream and flee the room. But she had created her own maze and was stuck there. Her breathing grew shallow. "Grace," Bridget said it with less force now, noticing the shift. "Are you all right?" Grace stood up abruptly. She stopped mid-sentence, her throat tightening. Her vision swam. The edges of her world started to blur and contract. "Grace, sit down," Bridget said firmly, guiding her to the chair. "You're having a panic attack. Consider me. Breathe in through the nose." But Grace couldn't hear her anymore. Her own heartbeat thudded like drums in her ears. Sweat pooled at her brow. Her chest would not fully expand. Her thoughts went in a tizzy. This was it. She was going to faint, or even worse, be seen. Was Liam truly cured? Or would complications show themselves any day now? What if the press found out? What if the hospital board started asking questions? What would happen if Finn and Bridget uncovered her interactions with Bill by putting the pieces together? While Bridget called for help, she clung to the chair and tried to ground herself. Grace realized she had committed a fatal medical, ethical, and emotional error as a nurse assisted her in lying down. She had danced too close to the fire, and now she was burning. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Los Angeles, the atmosphere couldn't have been more different. At Bill's sprawling mansion, Liam Spencer lay in bed, surrounded by the people he loved most. Steffi and Hope were to his sides, and Bill sat at his feet like a happy father. Finn stood nearby, watching the heartwarming moment with a furrowed brow. The scans had confirmed it: Liam's brain tumor, once pronounced inoperable, had vanished. The untested surgery had been successful. "It's really gone." Liam's voice cracked, disbelief and emotion flooding every syllable. "It is," Finn confirmed, still wary, still mentally cataloguing every irregularity. "You're going to live a long, full life, Liam." As Hope called the nanny, Liam's cheeks started to tear up. Within minutes, Kelly and Beth came running into the room. The air was filled with hope and innocence by their joyful squeals and laughter. Liam's daughters threw themselves onto the bed beside him. "Are you okay, Daddy?" they inquired, their eyes wide with awe. "Now that you're here," Liam said, pulling them close, "I'm perfect." Steffi and Hope reassured the girls that this was not the end of their father's love for them. Bill watched the reunion silently, then murmured, "Best money I ever spent." Back at Forrester Creations, the news of Liam's miracle was the talk of the office. Relief washed over Ridge and Brooke simultaneously. Even Taylor, always the skeptic, found herself smiling. Katie and Will had burst in earlier, practically glowing, proclaiming the good news. Will, in particular, was eager to spend more time with his older brother. But not everyone was jubilant. Ivy stood beside Electra with her arms tightly crossed over her chest in a quiet corner of the design office. She whispered, "It's just not fair." Electra was worried as she looked at her friend. "You really loved him, didn't you?" Ivy nodded, her voice choking on memory. "He was the best boyfriend of mine. Kind, selfless, brilliant. We had a moment at Il Giardino before all this happened. I came back to LA hoping we'd reconnect. And now I feel like I've missed my chance." Electra advised, "It's not over yet. Liam's alive. Maybe that moment you're wishing for is still coming." "I don't know," Ivy said, biting her lip. "I no longer feel like I belong in his world." As the day wore on, whispers of unease still drifted behind the joy. At the hospital, Bridget reviewed the files again, her instincts screaming that something didn't add up. She had already discussed Liam's situation with Finn, and both doctors concurred that Liam's case defied medical logic. They needed answers. And Grace was unraveling. In her darkened office, blinds drawn, she stared blankly at the $1 million deposit. The weight of her decision, of the gamble she took with a man's life and her own integrity, pressed on her like a physical force. What if something went wrong? What if she lost her license? What if Liam relapses? What if the world discovered she had manipulated his diagnosis and faked certain aspects of the records just to justify the treatment? She got up, went over to the door, and shut it. She was in too deep. And outside her walls, the truth waited, restless, ravenous, and ready to pounce.